Welcome to the Windy City Bender Podcast with your hosts, Nolly, Poetzy, Jarom, and Tanner.
What is happening, guys? Welcome to episode 78 of the Windy City Benders Podcast. It's a little bit different today. I'm running solo. Life happens, and the boys are busy. So instead of missing out on an episode, we wanted to make sure we still get one out for you. So be gentle on me, and just know that we will be back at full strength for the next episode. We are joined today by former Chicago Blackhawk, Stanley Cup champion Brent Sopel. He sat down, called in with me and Tanner a couple weeks ago. Had a real good, interesting conversation with him. Talked a little bit about his time in Chicago. Talked about his time in the K, and a little bit about his foundation. So we'll get into that in a little bit. But first, let's talk little Chicago Blackhawk hockey. And what felt like was another off season between games. They last played on Friday, 2 Fridays ago, against the Flyers. So they kicked off their homestand, which they play 7 of their next 8 games at home, this past Thursday against the desperate San Jose Sharks, who came in 0-4. Yeah, and you kind of what you expected from the Shark team. You thought that they were going to come buzzing a little bit, and they did. Definitely not to the level we thought they might. It definitely seemed like the Hawks had the upper hand to start this game. But this was going to be a different look Shark than what you saw their first 4 games. Nylander or Evander Kane was suspended for the first 3 games of the season due to the abuse official suspension. They brought back Patrick Marleau on a 1-year, $700,000 deal. You wasn't really sure what you're going to get from that, coming from an older guy. But he was always a leader on that team, and the boys seem to, get going when he comes on the ice. But yeah, so like that game really kind of kicked off. Dominic Kubalik gets his first career NHL goal, and let me tell you, that line of Saad, Kubalik, and Camp, boy, was that line buzzing. That line for that first period was hands down the best thing about the Blackhawks that game. They just were always on top of the puck. I feel like they were always pressuring, always having good scoring opportunities. Set up Kubalik for his first goal, and let me tell you, that kid is going to be so damn good. The fact that we got him so cheap from the LA Kings, God, he's going to be able to do a lot, and hopefully he'll see his role expand a little bit as the season goes on. I'd love to see him on that penalty or power play unit, that first unit. Be our own little version of Alex Ovechkin, because that kid's got a fucking rocket. He ended up having 1 goal, 6 shots on net, and 5 hits throughout the game. And that was all, I think, at least the shots on goal. I believe that was all the first period. After that, lines kind of got shuffled a little bit. But, that was one I kind of questioned that move. I understand shaking up lines a bit, but taking Saad, Kubalik, and Camp away from each other was a questionable move. As we kind of suspected, trying to figure out what else Nylander we're going to have. Nylander dropped down, and Kubalik got moved up to that top line, which good for that kid. Like I said, his kid's going to be so good, and he's going to get the opportunity, to show what he can do, and, give him some top line minutes. But yeah, so starting out that game too with Nylander up on that top line, he just wasn't producing the way I thought he was going to. He had a great start during the preseason. He got his first goal as a Hawk in the game against the Flyers, but even that game, you kind of saw his role diminish a little bit from that top line. At one point, he was playing on the 4th line on Thursday. He finished -2, had 1 shot on goal, 1 block, 1 giveaway, and 1 takeaway. So you got to kind of wonder, are we getting? Is this the real Nylander? Is the preseason Nylander the real one? I know it's too early to tell, but we did get a little bit of a hint. It would happen on the game on Saturday against the Jets, but we'll get into that when we finish up the Sharks talk here. Some other things I saw from that game, the defense, man, what the fuck is going on? I don't know what system Colleton is trying to put in place for this defense, but you know what? They need to really simplify it a little bit more. You kind of just by watching, you have these D-men look like they have no idea where they're supposed to be, who they're supposed to be covering. Your top two defensemen, and I say that in air quotes, Duncan Keith and Siebes, I don't think I've seen them start off so bad. They just are truly showing that they are digressing, and I just don't understand. It sucked because of those contracts, because if any other player, they would get the health bomb, they would be sitting down and watching from the press spots, but I don't think that they're going to be able to. I don't think Bowman will allow that to happen, if that's even a thought in Colleton's mind. But there's just a couple plays out there that it's like they need to figure out what they're doing. Like it's simple, basic hockey 101 that they're letting up. Marleau had his 2 goals that game. His second one was him driving to the net through the crease. I believe it was right behind Brent Seabrook. Siebes just let him go right through, and he had a nice little tap in. I believe that was a tying goal. Yeah, so that goal made it 4-4. And then the game-winning goal for Barclay Goodrow, Thornton's coming behind the net with the puck. Every single person... No, I'm sorry, I'm getting the games confused. Goodrow he is wide open on that ice, wide open, nobody even looking at him. Thornton throws the puck into the slot, and he's able to put it away, to give the Sharks the 5-4 lead, which... even more pathetic, not pathetic, but it kind of sucks to be that team. That was the first time this season the San Jose Sharks had a lead, 5-4 in Game 5 in the third period, at the 4:47 mark of the third period. Man, if that's not like old school Blackhawk hockey right there, I don't know what is. But then you got a couple other question marks that I have. And I'm sure I'm going to get ripped to shreds because I'm going to probably just not speak for obviously everybody on the show. But you know what? I'm here by myself. I'm doing it. I'm going to say it. I'm still not impressed with Crawford. I think that he is not the player or the goalie that he once was. I know it's early. I know there's been a bunch of goals that have just been bad luck. There's the one from against Philly, a cuckoo bouncing off of him. Brett Burns had a goal today that bounced right off of Murphy's glove that bounced right in. But at the same time, he's let up 9 goals on 17 shots. Right now, he's looking at an 8.75 save percentage, which is about a 4.62 goals against average. I'm not putting all this blame on Crow. I definitely won't. I know famous lines for this show is that, goalie's irrelevant. We blame the goalie, blah, 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 blah. This isn't all on Crow. A couple of these goals, yes, he needs to have their soft goals, but at the same time, freak accident goals like bouncing off your own player. I mean, there's nothing you're going to do on that. And if this defense stepped up and, played the way they're supposed to play, I have a feeling some of those soft goals don't happen. You have this team kind of just running with it's like their head, like chicken with their head cut off in the defensive zone. I really just don't understand if it's just these guys just aren't buying into the system, if Colleton's is overcomplicating what he wants them to do. And I think that's something that really needs to be looked at. But some good that happened that game too, though. Shazi is happy to be back in Chicago. He had 2 goals that game. He threw his body around. He really showed that. She kind of showed what we're missing. And I know I wasn't a big fan of that move when we brought him back. But, and you know, I'm not saying that I'm a huge fan of it now, but he definitely put something into our lineup that we were truly missing the past couple of years since he was gone. But with that being said, when you see the good of Andrew Shaw with those throwing his body around, you know, scoring goals, getting in the front of the crease, just being that mutt, you also get the bad where he takes a dumb penalty that doesn't need to be taken, where he cross-checks Dylan in the back and center ice. The play is nowhere to be seen. It's a stupid penalty. I understand why he does it. I want to say the shift before or a little bit earlier, Dylan took a nice run at Kane and kind of got him high, which here's my issue with that Kane hit. Yes, it was a cheap shot, but what blew my mind was that not one Blackhawk on the ice came to his defense. You have your top player, your leading guy who's going to be your leading goal scorer, one of the best players in this game. He gets hit hard, and the 4 other guys on the team don't even do anything about it. It's like, why are we playing? I mean, you got the goon grinder game mentality is coming out of this game. But there should still be somebody that steps up and, you know, hits Dylan back, gets in his face, say something. There's no reason for Shaw to be taking a penalty up to 2 minutes after the fact of that happened because he wasn't on the ice for that. Somebody needs to, you know, really step in and, you know, stand up for your star players. That's one of the things I truly miss about old hockey. Is that you weren't taking these free runs at these players, and if you took a run at them, boom, you had a guy on top of you, and you had to answer the bell. I'm not saying you have to drop the guy. I'm not saying you have to fight the guy. You need to get in his face, though, and let him know that you're not going to fucking pull that shit. Man, sorry, I gotta admit, this is really fucking weird. I'm doing this by myself, but, you know, let's keep it going. So the Hawks end up falling 5-4 to the Sharks in that game. So to start the season 0-2. Short day rest. They had the Winnipeg Jets coming in town on Saturday, which, you know, despite what we all thought coming into the year, with all the question marks they had on their back end, this team is not doing too bad. They're coming in with a 3-2 record. One of the question marks we had too was Patrick Laine. What kind of player is he going to be? He came in on a 5-point point streak. He is looking like the player that he was when he was drafted. Definitely kind of a taking the whole, you know, prove me wrong type of contract year, and definitely showing that, hey, I can still do this. I'm a top player. But yeah, so going into this game, you know, one of the biggest news was Alex Nylander gets the health bomb. He had that lackadaisical performance in Game 2. Carlton decides to sit him, bring in Perlini. So this kind of goes back to what I was talking about in the Hawks preview episode. Where is this kid's mindset? Where's it going to be? How is he going to take this type of situation? Is he a mental midget that he takes the health bomb and he just never gets back? Or is he going to take this as motivation to step it up and to let's go, fucking prove it. Take this more as a warning as, hey, you're not doing what we need you to do. We know you can be this top tier player. We're giving you every opportunity, but if you're not going to take it, you're not going to play. So I truly am hoping that he takes this as a wake-up call, steps up and just goes and just doesn't use this as a motivation killer, and we don't start hearing the stories that we heard from Buffalo. So on top of Nylander's coming out of the lineup, Cuckoo came out as well. The reason why he came out was Calvin DeHaan was ready to make his Chicago Blackhawk debut. Robin Lehner also was in the lineup making his Blackhawk debut. So it was a little bit of a different look team. Carlton shifted lines up a lot, which I there's a couple that I just didn't quite understand. He pulled off he pulled off DeBrincat from Dylan Strome, which that right there to me made zero sense at all. I feel like DeBrincat and Strome need to play on the same line at all time. He had DeBrincat, Taves, Kajula, Shaw, Strome, Kane, Saad, Camp, Kubalik, Smith, Carpenter, Perlini. So I'm glad he kept that Saad, Camp, Kubalik line together. Just put DeBrincat, Strome, and Kane together. That's what I want to see, and I think that's what is going to be a huge, huge line for us. Who you move up on DeBrincat's line, on Taze's line? I like Kajula there, but I don't know who you place on the right side. So this game started off a little bit better. You know, we come off hot. Our special teams actually gets the job done for us, which, wow, did not think that was going to happen. They get a penalty early on, and Carpenter, actually with some of the best patience I think I've seen on a penalty kill in a while, grabs a play, realizes that sees Lion A in front of him is covering the point, caught him flat-footed, just blows right past him, goes to 2-on-1 with Saad. Saad buries the shorthanded goal for his first of the year. His first shorthanded goal, who also led the team in shorthanded goals last year with 3, so he's almost there. But that was such a pretty play. Great patience. Carpenter really showing what he was brought in here to do. And that was just to be a penalty, a low line grinder and a solid penalty killer for us. And you know what? If that's what he does and we can get our fucking PK going, I will fucking take it. That same penalty, we had about 2 other chances. Taves and Kajula went out there. Kajula, walks up, drops it to Taves. Taves with a fucking filth pass to Kajula, and Hellebuck just made a nice pad save on Kajula. That could have easily been 2-0 on 1 penalty kill for us. A little bit after that, I want to say so maybe about 8 minutes after that, Hawks go on the power play. Some nice little movement. It's definitely still a little bit sloppy, but they're making strides. Siebes made some great on ice presence or awareness. Makes a nice little pass over to Keith. Keith takes the shot. And there's a nice little rebound, and Siebes just sneaks in and just tosses it on net, almost like a beer league type goal. Just fucking close your eyes, let it rip, and hope to God it goes in, and it did. So 2 things that I never thought would be like the positive for us is those penalty kill and power play. It was a nice little surprise. But then obviously the second period comes around, Hawks take another penalty, and lo and behold, they let up a power play goal. That one was just one I think Robin Liner wanted back. Just a weak shot. He was in the right spot, just snuck on through. But then back to our D just not being good again. There was the Andrew Cope goal that I was confused for the Sharks game with Marlowe, but Connor just comes around behind the net with the puck, just carrying it, and all 4 guys on the ice instantly just look to the puck, start going for him there, leaves Coop wide open in front of the net, and just nice little tapping goal to tie it up. So just like that, it's our defense blowing it again. There's nothing Liner could have done on that one. Game goes to overtime, and it was just I don't even know if it was if he got a piece of it, or if it's just a well-placed shot. Definitely one he would definitely want back. But my overall opinion of his first game in net, I think that, he looked good. He looked confident. He looked in place. He seemed just really relaxed in there. Things I don't really see with, in my opinion, I'm not a goalie, so I'm sure Poets and Tanner will have another opinion of this, but he just seemed to have this calming nature and was much more, seemed more comfortable in that than Crow did, at least the first 2 games. I don't know. It's because he really has nothing to lose. He's going to get paid regardless. So, he's got a nice 1-year deal. If he can take the net, it's awesome. If not, he's just going to keep putting up those points and prove that, he belongs in the net. Perlini comes in for Nylander. He played under 8 minutes. I don't know if this is just me or if this is something else that people notice. I love Carlton as a coach. I said the second that he was going to be the coach in waiting, the second that he came aboard from Rockford. Um, I just don't know if he's being thrown into a situation just right now that he isn't ready for, or if he just feels that there is this expectation that he's got to win now and he has to go out there and prove it right off the bat. I just feel that something's got to give with him, and he either just needs to just take a deep breath, relax, and do what he does. I mean, he's a good coach. I mean, there's no one's arguing that. It's just he's young, he's inexperienced, he doesn't have NHL level caliber. I think he coached in Sweden, he coached in Rockford. I really hope he works out because he's got a good hockey sense. However, he just needs to, I think, trust himself a little bit more, through the lines and a blender pretty quickly. And I just don't know if he was just throwing what he truly believes is going to work, or he's just trying different combinations. But yeah, so Hawks start the season off. I mean, they get a point, but they're 0-2-1. Yeah, sorry, this really I really just kind of going off of what I saw, giving you guys a little recap. Wish there's a little bit more give and take. But I would love to hear what you guys think about these games. Either put in the comments, YouTube, Facebook, tweet us what you think, how you feel. I see a lot of people online though are ready to write this season off and just completely blow it up and start fresh. Let me tell you this though. It's 3 games in. Hawks are 0-2-1. They've been in every single game has been a 1-point game. There is no reason to freak out yet. Everybody knew going in that the defense is our weak point, and they're just proving it for us. We have to get our D back to the point where we can trust it. I mean, Siebes and Keith, I don't know what they have to do, or if there's even something that they can do to get better. Either take less minutes or really just, play a more of a defensive game and don't try to do so much. But Ali Mata is looking good. Having Dahan is going to be nice. I would love to see Boquist called up. I just don't know if it's ready. Just the time. This is gonna be the first time that our D core is at full strength. I definitely think you got to give it a couple games before you think about bringing up a Boquist. Gustafson is, in my opinion, not looking great. I feel like he's all offensive minded, which we kind of know that he was a big point getter for us last year. But so I guess what I'm trying to say though is everybody who's freaking out, take a deep breath, relax. We are going to be fine. It's still too early to say, are we going to walk into the playoffs? Probably not. I mean, we're going to have to fight. But I know that's what we all knew. Nothing was going to be cakewalk, especially in our division. I mean, our division is one of the best divisions in hockey, and we are going to have to battle for it. It's unfortunate that we haven't gotten that first win yet, but you know what? It's going to happen. I can guarantee you that the Hawks will win a game coming up. They are not going to lose the rest of their games. 79 games? Just relax. Get off the ledge. Take a deep breath. All right. So I think I've rambled enough about Hawks talk for a little bit. So let's send it over to our interview with the one and only Brent Sopel. So today we are joined by a very special guest. He was a member of the 2010 Stanley Cup champion Chicago Blackhawks. Probably one of the best shot blocking defenseman on that team. Brent Sopel. Brent, how you doing?
Good. How are you guys doing?
Great.
Feeling good.
Yeah. So thank you so much for coming on. So let's kind of start this kind of early for you. So you're growing up in Canada, it's every little Canadian's dream to become a professional hockey player. When was the moment for you that you kind of realized that could be possibly a reality for you?
You know what? I don't know when that was. If there was ever a time, I was a kid. I wasn't overly talented. It was a lot of my work ethic, so I always had to keep my head down and just continue to work. So as long as I did that, I was fine. So I don't know if there was ever a defining moment. I had to kind of break all odds, all the way through to get to where I got.
Was it kind of like once you made it to the show, you're like, oh shit, holy crap, I'm here.
Yeah, it's they always say it's one thing to get there, then it's another to stay there.
Absolutely. So you got drafted by the Canucks and made a debut in '99 with some of the guys on that team. Was it a little bit intense? Just seeing like the stars like Naslund and Messier.
Yeah, it's obviously your first NHL game, and that was here in Chicago, and we had obviously Mark Messier on the team. Hall of Famer, goes down one of the best captains ever. McGillney, we had some pretty big names. So anytime you play your first NHL game, you're quite nervous and not sure how it's going to end up going, but it was just start of some great things for me.
Was there anybody on that team that kind of like took you under their wing, kind of showed you the ropes about being a pro?
You know what? All my teams, when I was in Vancouver when I was younger, we had great guys from start to finish. That it really took me under the wing. I played a lot of my time in Vancouver with defenseman Matthias Olin. By far the most skilled and best defenseman I've ever played with. So, I had that guy as a partner. We had some veteran guys, Adrian Coyne, he played in Chicago, Murray Barron, just some guys like that. So it's to get any success, in the league, you need veteran guys to help you out here, through the tough times. It's the best league in the world. So if you don't have that help, then forget it.
Oh, absolutely. Then you bounced to a couple teams and then went back to Vancouver and then eventually ended up with our Chicago Blackhawks. Was there anything that you were feeling about that team that was like a little bit special when you first joined, or is there any reason you decided to sign there in general?
They brought me in and they explained that they wanted me to bring in some leadership and bring in some veteran presence and teach Kane and Tays how to be a pro and what the NHL is all about, and work with Brent Sopel and Duncan Keith and continue to get them to evolve their game. So for me it was a spot where I could help kids grow, and I was lucky enough to be a part of something special and watch all four of them grow into not only unbelievable hockey players, but great men also.
Definitely. So you said your first game was in Chicago and then you come in 2007. The atmosphere there had to be kind of like the same, not a lot of buzz going on. When Kane and Tays came in, did you know right away that you're going to be in for a ride, that the city is going to get behind this team again?
No. It was still early. They're both 18 and 19-year-old kids, and obviously there were some flashes of brilliance, but being so young, you never know how it's going. But you give them a lot of credit, and they got every single year, and not only them, everybody did. The whole group got better, each and every year, and matured, and we're blossoming, at obviously at a perfect time.
Oh yeah, like you guys ended up the next season making it pretty decently far in the playoffs and just ended up losing to Detroit. I'm sure that kind of stung a little bit, but did that get a little bit of a Stanley Cup taste in your guys' mouth and made you a little bit hungrier for that next season?
Yeah, for sure. It's obviously did sting, but I always say, you learn more from your losses than you do your wins, and we definitely did there. We knew that we were doing some great things, and we battled hard, and we got to that position. Give us another year of experience. We thought we could do some great things. So yeah, it was obviously a great series. It was a great run. It was a great little toe in the water for the whole group.
So yeah, that 2010 team was it felt so special because it always seemed like you guys were, no matter the situation, you guys just seemed like you were going to come out with a win. And that kind of goes to like my next question here with when we were talking around about telling people that you're coming on the show. The number one thing everybody asked us to ask you about was that game-winning overtime goal in Game 5 against Nashville when you come into the zone, play up, and then you get the puck over to Hossa for that game winner. What was like that adrenaline rush after that? Well, I mean, that place had been going absolutely insane after that.
Oh yeah, it was unbelievable. Lift the roof off. It was. It was loud, for the anthems. It was loud all the way up to there, but that took it to another level. And that was definitely the turning point of the playoffs for us. We're lucky to get a win out of there, and sometimes you gotta be lucky to be good, and gotta be lucky. So we got a lucky balance, and made them pay, and found a way to get that OT winner.
Yeah, from there, it seemed like you guys were pretty much just like foot on the pedal, just full gas all the way through the rest of the playoffs. You guys kind of have a good feeling in your bones that you're like, this is the year that we're going to take it? Or was it just kind of like you didn't feel that until you actually had that game over in that overtime Game 6 in Philadelphia?
Yeah, no, you don't jump to any conclusions too quickly. It's obviously a tough trophy to win for a reason, and we had some tough teams to beat still, but we got in the zone as a group, moving forward. Worried about the task at hand, and we knew we got lucky there, but I think that made us focus a little bit harder, and tackle each game a little bit differently. And once we all got locked in, it was fun to be a part of.
Speaking of that overtime Game 6, where were you at during that goal, and what were you thinking when that happened, when the puck actually went in and nobody else had a clue?
I was still on the bench. I think I was the last one to jump the bench. Being an older guy, knowing that I knew that was probably going to be the only chance I was going to get. So I didn't want to get too excited. I kind of climbed over the boards and took a couple strides, nothing hard. I'm looking at the bench. I wasn't going to celebrate, wasn't going to do anything till I had a confirmation either way. But once we got that confirmation, it was go time.
Just a little bit of disbelief there, huh?
It was interesting, that's for sure.
So you get that cup passed over to you in the celebration, like, what's kind of going through your mind in that moment?
Well, it's crazy. It's something that you dreamt of as a kid your whole life, and to have it come to fruition, and especially when it's a Stanley Cup, and Canada obviously is the holy grail, but there's a lot of great players that never ever get an opportunity to win it, and knowing that I won it and was able to lift it over my head, it's still special.
And so you definitely you probably had one of the coolest moments with the cup, I think. Taking the cup down to the Gay Pride Parade in Chicago. Tell us a little bit like how you decided to do that, and what was that like for you?
Yeah, it was amazing, and I think I was the first athlete to participate in the Pride Parade. But Brian Burke was my GM in Vancouver for a number of years, and his son Brendan came out in November saying he was gay, and ended up dying in a car crash. It was January, February of that year. So, I took it to the Pride Parade. I got permission by the Burke family that I could go there, and in honor of Brendan. He was the first anybody in the hockey world to say come public with being gay. So, I knew that family for a long time. So, the fact that I could do something special for Brendan and the family. But I'm the type of guy that's I like to set trends, not follow, and they deserve what they got. It doesn't matter who you are, what you are. Everybody deserves rights and freedom, and to be a part of it. It was a lot of fun, real fun day.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of gay pride parades, and they are just insane. I can't imagine just having that kind of energy, especially with like having just won the cup as well, and bringing that around, and everybody getting to see that amazing trophy. It's just an awesome experience. I can only imagine right now. That's pretty awesome that you did that, and definitely ahead of the times with that kind of gesture.
Yeah, you could anywhere you take the Stanley Cup, no matter what city it is. There's just this vibe that runs with it that's electric. So, those streets were hopping for a long time.
Oh yeah. Did you attend anybody else's like little cup celebrations, or was that you just kind of do your own and then just kind of have a nice short summer pretty much for that whole rest of that summer, I guess?
Well, I stayed around here, so hit some of the trainers. Everybody else went back home, but. I had kids that were closer to age in Kane and Tazen than they were to me. So I lived a little bit of a different life. So kids had school and friends and activities. So I didn't go home. So I attended some of them with some of the trainers and things like that.
So so talking about your playing style a little bit. Like I said, I think you were probably one of the best, hands down, one of the best shot blocking defensemen in the league in your time. And people, so what kind of like, what how do I say this? How do you get the mindset to just lay down in front of some of these absolute missiles that some of these guys put out there?
Well, it's my mentality is if it was hitting me, I knew it wasn't going in. And older, being later in my career, and my first half of my career, I was an offensive defenseman, and when I came to Chicago, they told me that I wasn't going to be playing the power play. They wanted me to, direct Duncan Keith and Brent Sopel, keep them on the power play, but I wasn't going to get a lot of time. So I knew I had to reinvent myself, meaning if I wanted to stay in the league for a few more years, I couldn't count on that. So after that meeting with the coaches, I just decided to turn into the defensive defenseman, and blocking shots is one of those roles, and I took it on. It allowed me to win a Stanley Cup. It allowed me to play 3 extra years, and I enjoy pain, so it's really no big deal.
I was gonna say, is there anybody that you'd see winding up and you thought maybe to yourself, maybe I just kind of stand up for this one and don't go down to a knee or anything here?
Yeah, it's as time goes on, you want to play the game as long as you can, and we knew we had something special, so you had to figure out what your role was, and that's what my role was, and like I said, I knew if I was blocking that shot and it was a break of one of my bones, I knew it wasn't going in the net.
Definitely. So, all right. So our little mutual friend mentioned that we should.
He already knows where this is going.
He told us that we should ask you about your couple seasons in the KHL.
Yeah, you know what? I was over in Russia for 3 years. You know, I really enjoyed it. You know, with not so many people get to spend, you know, 3 years in Eastern Europe, and we were in or out of I don't know, 10, 12 countries, something like that. Sweden, Switzerland, Finland, Belarus, Kazakhstan, Latvia, Minsk. You know, just places that you know, you look on the map, but you know, for the most part, nobody's ever going to go there. And, a lot of cultures, but you know, it's got some great hockey. You know, it gets Olympic-sized ice, so it was, you know, guys like Tarasenko and Kovalchuk and Panarin, I played against. So there's some great skill over there. You know, again, you know, it's Russia, so there was a lot of crazy things. Did a lot of crazy things, and you know, I'm lucky to still be here to tell them.
Was it kind of hard to adjust to to the game out there? I know, like you said, the ice is a whole different size. Was there any major adjustments for you?
Yeah, you know what? For me, it was you know, I was always voted the ugliest and the slowest. So you know, you put me on the big rink. You know, it's a different game. You know, there's really no hitting over there because the ice surface is just so big. So it took me a little while to figure out how I had to play, and you know, it definitely wasn't my bread and butter. That, you know, playing there, and what skill, I didn't have skill. So definitely wasn't exactly. But like I said, I found a way to play there for 3 years, and had a lot of fun.
Did you got any funny or interesting stories from being over there? Anything you can tell, or you're not afraid of like Putin getting at you?
Well, you know, it's a different way of life. You know, training camp there was 8 weeks, and you know, we're doing 2 days, you know, on the ice, 2 days, and lifting, and you know, with the workout in between. It's completely different mentality. You know, their mentality is, you know, quantity, not quality. In the way that, you know, in the NHL here, it's quality, not quantity. So it was you know, completely different mindset of how to work, and you know, what they expected out of you, and you know, 10K runs, and you know, this is not a running body. So this is sit on the bike, ride the body, not a running body. So you know, there's a lot of different things. You know, you get to Moscow, which makes New York City look like a suburb, and you know, I was in Russia when that plane crash went down in Lokomotiv in Yaroslava. I was sitting in the Moscow airport at that point in time too. So you know, it's you know, that you know, I think about that all the time. You know, those guys that I knew personally on there, and you know, everybody else that was affected by it. I was sitting right in Moscow airport right when it went down.
Yeah, geez, that's crazy. I remember that too. It's a hard day for every hockey fan out there. While you were in Russia though, did you have your family over here at home still, or did you have them in Russia with you?
No, I went there by myself. You know, all my kids were in school, and you know, so when I went there, I was there for 9 months at a time, and yeah, like it was tough being away from the family, but you know, I squeaked three extra years in my career out, and got to say I played over in the KHL, and got to learn a lot about different cultures, and met, you know, got some great people, and I got one of my best friends still I talk to, you know, weekly from there.
That's awesome. And then so after the KHL, you got one more year out of professional hockey. You came back to Chicago and played for the Wolves. What is it about Chicago that kind of like keeps bringing you back out here? And you know, you settle down out here. You know, what makes the city so special?
Well, it's you know, it's got nothing to do with the city. At some point in time, your kids tell you where you're going to go. They run your life. Like I said, my kids were older, and you know, they moved a lot. And then, you know, once they start hitting middle school and, you know, staring high school down the barrel, you've got to do what you got to do for your kids. So they end up dictating where, what you're going to do and where you're going to be. So that's kind of how we end up here, staying here in Chicago. But, for me to come back for the Wolves was, I wanted to play my 1,000th professional game here in North America. So that's when, I came back here, played my 1,000th game, then retired a few days later.
Oh, that's awesome.
Not a bad send off. I mean, I guess having your family dictate where you're going to be living, Chicago is not a bad place for that to happen either, though.
Yeah, no, it's could be a lot worse. It's I lived in one of the cities in Russia. I was in the middle of Siberia, so it wasn't there. It definitely worse places for sure.
So after all that, what you been up to lately? I know we hear that you got a Brent Sopel Foundation. Do you want to talk a little bit about that with us? Maybe let our listeners know a little bit more about what you got going on there.
Yeah, that's my number one. I started the Brent Sopel Foundation for dyslexia a couple of years ago. I found out 10 years ago that I had dyslexia, so I went through school. Reading at a grade 4 level in high school. My education probably doesn't take me past grade 8. So, I started the foundation to advocate for everybody else who has dyslexia. It's 1 in 5 and it's hereditary. It's not talked about. Nobody has much clue about what it is. Everybody just thinks it's you're flipping your B's and D's, but that's far from the case. So. I spend a lot of time with that, talking to people around the world, advocating, helping parents, helping kids any way I can. If I can keep one kid, from feeling the way I do every single day, then, that's a great thing.
Do you have anything coming up for the events wise for the foundation at all that you want to let people know about?
Well, on Wednesday I've got my celebrity golf tournament. In Lamont and Ruffle Feathers. So we got Dennis Quaid, Sugar McGavin. So we got some good celebrities out there. Should be a lot of fun. Hopefully that Mother Nature is good to us and stays nice. But we'll see what she's got in store for us.
So where can people go to find more information about your foundation, and is there a way for them to possibly donate or volunteer or anything like that?
Yeah, you can go to my web page is BrentSopelFoundation.org, and you can donate on there. You can email, you can ask questions about dyslexia. So go there and you can get more information about dyslexia. You can do a lot of things. You can donate, which would be greatly appreciated. Everything, all this money goes to training teachers in Wilson Reading, which is a way to teach kids with dyslexia. So, if anybody wants to donate, like I said, greatly appreciated. Want more information, go to BrentSopelFoundation.org and find it.
Yeah, and we will definitely, when we post this up, we will definitely make sure that we include all links to the site and give any details that we possibly can for our listeners to go check it out.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah. So, you know what? Thank you so much for, calling in. We really appreciate it. We love getting the opportunity to talk to former Hawks. We bleed this team. So it's really great hearing your stories about, especially the couple years.
We got one last question for you that we pretty much ask everybody too. Is there a favorite hockey memory for you that really stands out, whether it was for you playing or maybe watching the game as a kid, or anything that happened throughout your hockey career that just really stands out and something you'll never forget, that you cherish forever?
Well, obviously you win the cup, that you never forget that. You never forget your first game, my first goal. I ended up scoring. It ended up being a 1-1 tie, but it was my third game in the league, and it was Hockey Night in Canada in Vancouver. First game that my parents got to see live, and it was broadcast right across Canada. So, that was pretty special.
Definitely. Well, thank you so much again, Brent, for coming on. We really appreciate it. And do us a favor, don't let Vito's head get too big. Don't.
That's not possible.
I was like, don't feed him the calling him a beauty or anything like that. Don't let him know about that. All right. Well, thank you so much again. And yeah, we will make sure to let everybody know about your foundation, and hopefully we'll get behind that for you for sure.
I appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
All right. Thanks again to Brent Sopel for calling with us. We really appreciate it. So yeah, he's got it's an absolutely incredible story, especially with his Dyslexia Foundation. If you want to learn more about his foundation, look up for upcoming events, or even donate, visit BrentSopelFoundation.org for all the info on all of that. Yeah, so usually this would be a time where we talk some little NHL talk. I'm not going to go too much into it, but, there's a couple things that I did notice, and since I don't have anybody here to stop me, we're going to talk about Phil Kessel. Phil the fucking Thrill Kessel, baby. Just played in his 1,000th NHL game this past Saturday. Oh, man, the definition of perfection, Brent Sopel, or Phil Kessel. Like, let's go. So he's played 1,000 NHL games. He is the third youngest player to do that at the age of 32. And what's even more amazing is of those 1,000, 778 of them have been consecutively played. So he has played in every single game for, I don't know how many seasons that is, whatever. It's a lot. But this guy gets the worst rap, I think, of a lot of players in the league. Just by his appearance and his attitude that I think is more built upon the media from being in those big markets. I think Toronto really absolutely kind of did him dirty with his media personality and all that kind of stuff. But 1,000 games for Phil Kessel, that's a fucking accomplishment at 32 years old, especially after everything he's gone through with the cancer and all that kind of stuff. So Phil, congratulations. I know you are definitely not listening to this, but you're the one of a kind, bud. So another one more thing to kind of talk about before we close off here. Some interesting, looking at the standings, there's some interesting teams that nobody probably would have expected coming in. As of recording this at Sunday around 5:30, so before the Sunday games even started, you're looking at an Oiler and Hurricane team that are tied for the best record in the NHL. Oilers are 5-0, Hurricanes are 5-1. Is this finally the year for the Oilers to kind of make their jump? Big story with that, real deal James Neal comes in. Everybody kind of writ him off because of his season last year, only scoring 7 goals for the Flames. But if you look at him now, through 5 games, he has already scored 7 goals. So I think it's safe to say who won that trade between the Lucic and James Neal move. Another surprise team. I don't even know if it's considered to be a surprise team. They have the talent to do it. I just don't think anybody believed that they were going to follow up last year with it. The Carolina Hurricanes 5-1. This team is doing great. They were undefeated up until the 12th, which was yesterday, so Saturday. Lost to Columbus, who was exactly what we thought they were going to be. But yeah, so Hurricanes looking good. Buffalo 4-0-1, Colorado 4-0, Anaheim 4-1, and Winnipeg 4-2. A bunch of teams that I don't know if it's just because they don't have a lot of expectations on them, so they got really nothing to lose, so they can just go all out and make sure have fun or what. But hockey's weird, and I fucking love it. And if the first week and a half of the season is going to be any indication how this year is going to go, I think we're in for a very fun year. Yeah, other than that, I will cut this short. Thanks again for putting up with me by myself. If you guys truly hate this, please let Poets, Tanner, and Nolly know to make sure that they come back on next time. And if you like it, give us a like on YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're going to be posting all of our episodes there. If you're not already subscribed to us on iTunes or Apple Podcasts or Spotify, please do that. That way you'll get notification on all of our episodes posted, and they will be right there ready for you to listen when you open the app. And if you enjoy what you hear, if you don't enjoy what you hear, please leave us a review on iTunes or Apple Podcast and Facebook. Let us know what you like, what you don't like. The more reviews you guys give us, the better we can make the show, so we really appreciate it. Always, you can leave us some Riding Pine questions as well. We really hope to get that back up very soon. You can do that by sliding into our DMs on Instagram, Twitter, message us on Facebook, send us an email if you have it, text us if you have our number. But if you don't have our number and you want to call or text us and leave a voicemail, send us a text with a question. Our phone number for that is 708-942-4829. Again, these can be hockey questions. They can be Blackhawk questions, be hypotheticals. We can do games of sign, trade, buyout, name 3 players that you would want to hear what we think. You need some life advice. Our lives are absolute garbage, so we might be able to help you out too. Anyway, yeah, let's see how this goes. Hawks play the Oilers tomorrow, and I'm lucky enough to be attending that game and see McJesus in person for the first time. So until then, for myself and hopefully a Poets, Tanner, and Nolly, they're doing well. Thanks for listening, and we will see you next time.
Follow the boys on Twitter at WCBPodcast, on Instagram at WCBPodcast, and like them on Facebook, the Windy City Benders Podcast.